All right, so I've had recent events in personal life that I wasn't even able to finish my creation of the top 10 list for MLB positional players, pitchers, and I didn't even get some of the season previews done for the teams before the season started. Not to get too personal, but just a lot of things happened that I was not able to create what I wanted to do. So I'm just going to jump right into the season previews since the season's already had a head start. I mean, it is April. It is still soon. I could still make them, but at this rate, I'm never gonna be able to catch up to the season previews of these teams, and it's gonna get to the point where I mean, baseball is gonna be in full swing, and there's gonna be trades, and there's gonna be draft situations and whatnot, and my predictions as of right now are what I decided before the season started. I'm gonna keep them there. I'm not changing them. I don't want to change them. I'm not that person. So as of right now, I'm gonna stick to what my guns think and what I thought of the teams. Kind of talk about each team briefly, not too detailed about it. So that way, this is not a hour video. So here we go. Here's the MLB season preview in terms of where I think each of these guys will be ranked in their division, playoff predictions, and all that. That is a no go for me. I'd just rather see how the season rides out. Playoff predictions, I would love to do them probably towards when it's actually postseason time. Just going to see how the season rides out. And this is kind of my list on who's going to be where. I got fifth in the AL East. I'm going bottom to first for all these divisions. The Red Sox, man, they are going to be last. Um, I'm not going to look at the standings as of right now. Haven't checked them today. I won't base that off of what's going on. Just based off of what the lineups are showing me and what's going on. This is what I got. The reason the Red Sox are last, first of all, this is a terrible division if you are trying to rebuild or trying to figure out a way to make your team contend. It's more like you got to contend and you got to be built for the long run now instead of rebuilding. So if you are rebuilding, it's more likely that you're going to be last in this division, just from how all these teams have been so competitive, man, and so good, man. For Red Sox, I mean, they need Bayo to step up. He's a young pitcher that I think can do his magic. I think he's got the ability to. Pavetta and Crawford, we'll see what happens with them. The rotation is okay. It's not the best. Um, Bullpen is rough, dude. It's just a lot of people that are. It's iffy, dude. It's a lot of different names going on, and we'll see about what they do with that with some of the best hitting teams in the league here. Jansen, their closer, could he go back to the old Jansen of the Dodgers? They got a young core though with Casas, Grissom, and Duran, and that should be something that they should look for towards too in the future. They got a superstar in Rafael Devers, and they have a good pickup in Tyler O'Neill. I think he's going to be doing great things out there in Boston. I do believe that this team can be relevant in the future, but right now, with how tough this division is, they are fifth in the division for sure. Okay, fourth, we got another very successful and historic franchise in the New York Yankees, man. They do drop to fourth just because, like I said, this division is hard, man. And I think the Yankees are going backwards more than they are forwards. There are some bright spots in there, so I do believe they can be a potential threat in the division. First of all, the Garrett Cole injury, I think is tough for them. That's a huge loss, and I'm not sure how that's gonna bode well for them. And it's going to be down to can Nestor Cortez, can Rodon, can Stroman step up and be those aces, win games, win you series during this regular season, this long, ruling regular season. Um, Unsettling bullpen. Not a fan of the bullpen. The bullpen's just, I don't know. It just hasn't been the same in a long time, man. And they do have Bronx Power, I guess, with Rizzo. Can Rizzo go back to the Rizzo that we know? Stanton, We know he's aging, man, as a DH. Can he just step up and get them consistently some great, RBI numbers, some homers like he's used to? Judge, can Judge be Judge? New stars in Verdugo and Juan Soto, and stars in the making, possibly with Oswaldo Cabrera and Anthony Volpe. I think that's it's kind of what they got going on, man. A little bit of some firepower with Soto for a year. Can they extend them? What's going to happen? It's a lot of yeah, just unanswered questions. Third in the AL East is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays. I do believe that they have a better roster than the Yankees and the Red Sox. I do believe they have a better season than the Red Sox and the Yankees. But the two teams in the AL East division that are above them, I just feel like they just have more of an upside than these guys do. They just maybe need to develop more of a bullpen and continue to develop a pitching staff. I mean, the pitching staff is actually solid, but they're veterans, so they could use some youth. Gossman, Bassett, Barrios, Manoa. I think they're great. I think they're solid. But again, it's a veteran rotation. Solid bullpen depth. I'll give them that. I think they have a lot of guys that can, relieve them. That can, make sure if there is, which there will be games that starters do not play their ultimate best, and they can get them out of that and try to get back into the game. And then you got some solid bats and defense with Guerrero Jr., Biggio, Bichette, Springer, the addition of Turner. And the only thing that I think sucks is their loss of Matt Chapman. I think they'll hurt them defensively as well as offensively, but they should be decent. Bay Rays as second in the AL East, and I will explain why. First of all, they've season like every season, honestly, it feels like everyone kind of writes them off. They're kind of that team that's like, they're okay. And then they have this next man up mentality. This, our backs are against the wall, and we need to figure out what we got to do. And someone's gonna have to step up. We're all gonna have to step up as a team and play to the best of our ability. And they always seem to get into the postseason. Does that equate to them having success and winning World Series? No. But again, this is a team that's scrappy and they will have next man up mentality. Glass now, I think leaving to the LA Dodgers is a huge thing. And pitching injuries, we'll see. Like I said, next man up. Solid bullpen. Yandy Diaz is elite. Line of questions for sure with Wander Franco. Probably never going to play in the major leagues again with his underage sexual case that he has going on there. But they have some up and coming stars, like always, some great prospects. And Rosarena is still the face of the franchise. Overall, I do believe this team will pull it through. I do believe they'll have some magic in them. Kings of the AL East is going to be the Baltimore Orioles. They're going to win that division. I don't think it's close. I just believe this is the most complete team in the division. This is a team that's going to contend for a World Series. I really do believe they can get there. And that's crazy to say for a Baltimore Orioles team that has seen some rough years in the past decade. Um, it's a great rotation. The addition of Corbin Burns is huge. They have an ace there, finally. Not that it didn't before, but he's like a true ace. It's crazy. Their bullpen is solid. Nothing's changed. It's solid. Craig Kimbrell, I think, could be a pretty good pickup for him. Um, will Felix Bautista come back? I mean, what's to know with that? But Kimbrell, that's nice. Um, they got young stars and a great lineup. Henderson, Rutschman, Westberg, Mountcastle, and then the other guys I didn't mention. They're not young stars, but they're stars, superstars. They're there. They're there for a reason. They have a fantastic lineup for that, and we're just waiting for the arrival of, um, you know, what is Colton Cowser gonna do and Jackson Holiday. I mean, we're waiting for those arrivals and to see what's gonna happen. This is a great team. This is a World Series contending team. Turn our attention to the AL Central. last in the division, and honestly one of the last in the entire league, the Chicago White Sox. They're going to be fifth in the AL Central. They are a god awful team. They are not going to contend. They're probably going to lose 100 plus games. It's just a terrible, terrible rebuild for them, and it's going to be a long haul until they're contending again, man. Yeah, man. The pitching rotation, the bullpen, everything about it is not good. A lot of over over their prime guys, or just you know Garrett Crotchet. I mean, he's still got to make his mark. So we'll see what he does. Um, it's just a long season, man. The only thing that White Sox fans can look forward to is hopefully seeing Luis Robert, Yohan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, and possibly Vaughn, man. This is just a struggling baseball team, and they're going to have a really, really bad season this year. They are dead last in this Central Division. It's not even close. Fourth in the AL Central, I'm taking the Kansas City Royals. And the Royals are still kind of rebuilding. I do believe they got a lot of key pieces that I believe could be pretty good, and they're on to something. I definitely believe they can win a lot more games than they did last year. But overall, this is a team that needs to still develop and get big time names, hopefully, to the organization and get back to where they were once in 2015, 2016, won a World Series, Overall, though, Bobby Witt Jr. is for real. Sal Perez is a future Hall of Fame catcher, and their pitching is okay. They're not terrible, but they're also a little questionable. I just don't know if there's a true ace. I do believe in the bright future of Brady Singer. Overall, we just got to see what happens. I do believe this team will be a lot better this year, and we'll see how it goes. Detroit Tigers, they're going to be third in the AL Central. I just believe that they're going to step up and really go back to some elite Detroit Tiger baseball that we all know that they can provide. This is a team that has been in the postseason many times. Obviously, when they had that acquisition of Fielder and Cabrera going to the World Series was fantastic. But this is more just trying to rebuild their team. They have a young rotation, young lineup. I mean, everything looks youthful. Their bullpen is amazing with some veterans, some young guys. Overall, this is looking great. Torkelson and Green, will they improve? I just believe this team is gonna go very very far in terms of stepping up this year, and I see them being third in that division. So this was a hard thing for me, just because I could see them winning the AL Central for sure. I'm still gonna put them second, and I'm gonna get a lot of ridicule for this, but I just feel they're gonna be second in this division. This is one of the weakest divisions in baseball, but it's just all teams that are rebuilding. Cleveland is not. This is a diverse lineup with some power, speed, you know, hit for contact, hit for power, doubles machines. Overall fantastic. They're a great defensive team. I think they have a solid bullpen with a great closer. And this is probably their weakest rotation in years. I do believe in their rotation. I do believe that they can get things done. And, like I said, this will be a team that will be contending for wild card slash division champ spot to be in the playoffs. And I do believe this is a Cleveland team that will be in the playoffs this year. I think the Kings of the AL Central are going to be the Minnesota Twins. I just think this team has a lot of experience on their shoulders. They've been to a wild card in LDS. Um, what are we going to get from Royce Lewis? We all know his potential is through the roof, and I'm excited to see what he does. I think they got a rotation that's got some veteran guys, some young guys, just diverse rotation. I think their bullpen's okay. There's no huge names that I love, but at the same time, I think they'll be okay. Um, Again, what kind of Byron Buxton are we gonna get though? It's a huge question for me. I just feel like he was a top prospect for many moons again about um, the fact that he's been up and down, injuries and all that. Like, what are we gonna get from that guy? We're gonna get from Carlos Correa. You know, what are we gonna get from this lineup? And how are how is this team gonna flow through the year? It is a long, grueling season. Can this team manage to get wins, get big series wins in rubber matches? And yeah, I mean, this team, I just think has the most experience, not from the talent wise. So I think in the future they do have a lot of things to work on, especially with some of these come up teams in Kansas City, Detroit that are going to be ready for them, and they're going to be the new kings of the AL Central. But right now, Minnesota's there. When you look at the Oakland A's and we look at the AL West, it's pretty adamant they are last in the AL West. They will be last in the AL West when their fans are about 10 in the stands and it's a giant coliseum and they're all shouting "Sell the team, man!" I mean, it's not looking great in Oakland right now. Um, but really, I mean, selling the team, is that really going to help with anything? I get the stadium's old and busted, but they got to try to build on this culture. And if they move to Vegas, which is the rumor, what will it do with that? It's mainly based on, can you try to build a culture, man? That's kind of the biggest thing. You want to win. I don't know if selling it could really help that, but we'll see. Las Vegas is a big, big market overall. They got players like Paul Blackburn. They got players like Mason Miller. They got players like Brent Rooker. And then they got some young guys in the infield that I think can really, settle in and become impactful. But this is an A's team that is going to have a rough year. And we'll see about the selling of the team, like the Coyotes did with the NHL. Like, what's going to happen here? What are they going to do? A lot of questions for this team. The thing that's not questionable is their season is going to be a long one. I mean, fourth in the AL West, LA Angels. This is an Angels team that still hasn't really done enough to give Mike Trout any help. Hasn't given the notice that, hey, man, we're trying to build something around you and we are trying to get to the postseason. We're trying to win, man. Mike Trout is not getting any younger. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the best center fielders to play the game. He's one of the best baseball players that I have seen in my time on this earth. But overall, I mean, this is a kind of a disaster, man. It's an unorganized rotation. They have an old bullpen. They do have some young guys on the lineup for sure, but mainly it's Trout and everyone else. It's just Trout and company, and we're watching Angels games mainly for Mike Trout. It's not Shohei anymore. It's just Mike Trout again and everyone else. So, what kind of Angels team we're going to get? We're going to get a better than an Oakland team, but we're not going to get anything that's amazing. Texas Rangers, they're third in the AL West. This is a pretty hard division, really, to predict. They are the World Series champs, man. They're the reigning champs. But there are some good teams out here, man. But they can be first in the AL West. First of all, the rotation is ready. Nasty Nate, where's Scherzer gonna be in this? Montgomery's absence, what's gonna happen there? Their bullpen is back. It's not like their bullpen really changed much, and they have a World Series lineup. They've already had you know, that chemistry already there, and there's not much that's changed. Only thing that's changed is Wyatt Langford's rookie season right now, and I mean he's just another addition to power and a great addition to the lineup. So overall, this will be a team that will contend. They are World Series contenders. They are world champs. For the Mariners, they're second in the AL West to me. They really have been a letdown, especially last year. And I mean, they're eventual AL West division rivals, and the Rangers won that World Series. This is a team that has the ability of winning and being in that ALCS conversation for a World Series, man. They really do. And they just get so hectic. And I don't know if it's the chemistry. I don't know if they're just not paying attention or they get tired throughout the year. But this is a team that if they actually go on hyperdrive, I do believe this is a team that will win a division. I do believe this is a team that can win a pennant, really. It's just they're so dysfunctional and it sucks for Mariners fans. But this is a team that should be second in the division, I believe, this year. That's where I see them. They have a great rotation. Nothing's changed. I think they're young and great aces over there. They've always had a great, strong bullpen, and they have a strong lineup. Like Teoscar Hernandez left, I get that, but overall, this is a strong lineup. I think this could really be a dangerous team. They just got to put some wins together, win some matches, some series matches, and win against their division. It's tough, but it's important. So they got to do what they got to do, and they got to get some wins, and they got to strive for this time to be in the playoffs. In the AL West, it's pretty easy. It's going to be the Houston Astros, man. Just because they've dominated for so long. I think their bullpen is going to be a little bit rocky at first. I do believe they can get it together just because they've kept this team together for so long. I mean, they got a great rotation. I think they have a great rotation with Verlander and Fromber, Christian Javier. Not sure if they're going to use McCullers at all. But I mean, this is a good lineup, man. They're young. They always got some prospects there. Solid bullpen again. Shaky though with losing so many people, but I do believe that they could try to pull it together for sure. And this lineup is a veteran-led lineup. This is a lineup that's been together for a while. They won a World Series together. Definitely something that isn't super foreign, and it's not like so many changes out there. There's so many players that you can really look at and be like, okay, this guy's good, this guy's good, this guy's good. This lineup's got solid players from Kyle Tucker to Hall of Famer Jose Altuve to power hitter Jordan Alvarez. They got a great lineup, and I do believe it'll carry them to a division title. And I definitely think they're chasing a World Series. Will they get it? That's to see. But right now, I think they're solid. We're going to take our attention to the National League, and we got NL East. Let's go to the NL East. Washington Nationals. They're going to be dead last in the NL East, mainly because they are not an organization that's ready to compete, and it's not a bad thing. They're just in a rebuilding phase. I just believe that the other teams have something more of an elevated feel to look forward to, and Washington, they have an okay rotation. Again, it's a very old but young type of rotation. They're disorganized. They're just kind of trying things out as they go. The bullpen's all right as well. Not like lethal, not something that looks elite. And they have a youngish lineup. I think having Abrams in there, I think that's pretty cool. Keeper Ruiz could be pretty good catcher in the league. Just overall, I think they just have some pieces and missing pieces in their team, and they just got to keep rebuilding. I do believe they'll get some key wins, but I mean, overall, this is a rebuilding team, and they are going to be dead last in the division. Mets, they're going to be fourth in the NL East. I don't know how to say it in terms of being positively positive about a New York team this year. I mean, I just feel like New York baseball as a whole will be okay. They have not elevated their game, and maybe it's just them spending so much money and thinking at some point we're gonna get all these superstars in line and everything's gonna be okay. Um, and it's more of they just have gone out and haven't really focused on pitching enough, in my opinion. It's just at least with this organization, the Mets just have such a disorganized rotation um, with an okay bullpen. They just didn't really decide on what they were going to put their main focus on. And their main focus was the fact that they have a scary good lineup. I think they have a great lineup actually, but when you have no one for pitching, man, it's just hard to win, and it's hard to compete in this league, man. You need bullpen, you need solid rotation. When it comes to October, November, you're gonna need that, man. And I think the New York Mets don't have that, and they lack that. And it's a team that's going to be there and have some streaky wins, but man, they can have some terrible losses and go through a dry spell, my guy. So we'll see what happens to the Mets, but I definitely believe they'll be fourth in the NL East. So the Marlins, I think this is a team that's so inconsistent that it bothers me, just because they could be so good, man. Such a good squad, effective postseason bound, and they could be a terrible, terrible train wreck. And we don't know which one we're gonna get. I don't know which one they're gonna bring out. I mean, right now it's looking terrible. This is a team that can just come up out of nowhere, and they've always dealt with injuries, and they can go back to the postseason, man. This is a Miami Marlins team. I do believe they can do their thing, man, and they have one of the best hitters probably in the game. I mean, one of the best hitters, one of them, of the best hitters in MLB history, in my opinion, Luis Ariz. I mean, they have some aces in the making out there. They do have an unsettling bullpen, which, I mean, that's always been a concern for them. They also have an unsettling lineup. Jorge Soler isn't there anymore, so their power kind of got depleted. I do believe that this team is going to score runs, but by being efficient and smart. I don't think they're going to have that many home runs, but again, this is a team that can do well, man. And I do believe in their ability to possibly be one of the top in the NL East. Philadelphia Phillies, I got them second in the NL East, right behind spoiler alert, Atlanta Braves. Mainly because I think the Phillies are not at the level of Atlanta, but I do believe that they're higher than these other guys. These are teams that, frankly, are at best mid-tier slash mediocre, man. Overall, though, I do believe that this is a good team that is dying for a championship and has the unfortunate ability of having two World Series contenders in their same league. But they're hungry as ever, and I do believe that they want this more than anyone. So we'll see what happens with them, especially after that loss to the Diamondbacks. Um, for the Phillies, I think they have a great rotation. I think it's the same rotation, and I think it's going to work out really well for them. They have an okay bullpen, but for the most part, I think it can work out for them. And they have the same dangerous lineup, same lineup that can get them to a World Series. Harper, Stott, Real Muto, um, Schwarber. Yeah, great lineup. I do believe in this team, and I do believe that they can win this division. But at the same time, realistically, they'll be second. Cincinnati's, I think, is really easy for me, even though it was a little bit of a hard decision between Philly and Atlanta. I think they're just a better team. They have the better lineup, the better pitching, the better everything. I think this is the team that is the biggest threat to the Dodgers going to a World Series, in my opinion. I know they lost in the NLDS to the Phillies, but I do believe this team's on a mission to get back to where they need to be, and that's World Series contention, and they are still about it. They still have it. Atlanta, dangerous pitching, adding Chris Sale, with Spencer Strider, with even Charlie Morton, who's been fantastic at his age. They have a dangerous lineup. Um, Dangerous bullpen, I think. A really effective bullpen. But yeah, dangerous lineups. The same lineup as last year. We put up historic numbers. Matt Olson is a monster. Ronald Acuna is a monster and should be an MVP candidate again. And I do believe he can win an MVP this year. But yeah, you have really little to no weaknesses on this team. Probably just the health of the pitching and maybe get another ace at trade deadline or something. But honestly, this is a team that should win over 100 games. This is a team that should be first in the NL or sorry, second in the NL, but could compete for first, and it's a threat to go win another World Series this year. I mean, simple as that. We go to the NL Central, and it's the Pittsburgh Pirates to me that are last. I just that's a saddening thing because Pittsburgh is known for their grit, known for just playing really hard and making the most out of it, and it turns into postseason appearances, man. But this is a team that, yeah, I mean, they're still going through a rough time. They still have so many um, holes to fill on this team, and so many questions to be answered. I think they're going in the right direction to try to do that, but it really starts with pitching, and they gotta do it now. I don't know what their farm system looks like, but hopefully they can try to attract some, some talent, man. Pittsburgh just has an uneasy rotation. They have some young guys in there that I think could be great. They have an okay bullpen, could be better, definitely. A messy lineup, a messy lineup. O'Neill, Cruz, Sawinski, Cabrine, Hayes, Reynolds. Those are some stars. You got to build around those guys, and you just need more players, dude. You just need more talent. So this is just a team that's dying for more talent. Chicago Cubs. They are fourth in the NL Central, and that's something that pains me just because they are a team that I think is rebuilding and going in the right direction. They have talent out there, and it is a really good team that could be a postseason team. Just NL Central is just stepping up in ways that I just am really surprised and honestly extremely excited about and intrigued. For the Cubs, I mean, they have an exciting rotation, and it really starts with Steele. I really do enjoy his um, just his presence on the mound. They got some young pitchers out there. I think they have some fantastic, talent. They have not a bad bullpen. It's really not bad. And they have a low key dangerous lineup. Low key dangerous lineup. Suzuki, Swanson, Horner, Contreras, Bellinger, you name it. It's just a dangerous lineup, low key. And I'm excited to see what this team provides this year and to prove me wrong, honestly. Reds. Yeah, they're third in the NL Central to me. Another team that's on the rise, surprise from last year. They're leap and bound for their. I mean, you're just looking at a young, unproven rotation. Um, Hunter Green and those boys, man. I mean, they're a rotation that is young. Ashcraft, another guy I can honestly name off the top of my head. It's just guys that just haven't, you know, really had the chance to just have a full season and kind of show what they're made out of. They're still young, man. And I just think that's scary. They have an okay bullpen. I'm looking at Alexis Diaz to have a great year this year in terms of saves. I do believe they will be winning a majority of their games. Um, but again, I mean, this is also a team that's going to be third, so I don't see them, um, being division champs just because they are so young and they're still trying to manage and try to, you know, get on top, man, and be on top, and that's hard. That's hard, but it's a lot of looking up for them, especially with their could be elite lineup from Friedel to McLean to Steer, and especially Dela Cruz, who is one of, if not the most exciting baseball player to watch in the game. So overall, yeah, I believe that the Reds are gonna keep climbing up, and right now third. I really hope they also prove me wrong. So I got the St. Louis Cardinals jumping to second in the NL Central. I think this team made big splashes. Definitely signing, Kyle Gibson, Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn during the off season. I mean, they're trying to get there, right? And I mean, with those signings, it's clear their rotation's old, man. I mean, it's a veteran led rotation, which could be pretty good, especially with the experience coming from it. But, will it turn out to be a good move with them all being in that age range that their velocity, their stamina might go down, and it might be an issue with them, even um, going 6 innings. It's we'll see what happens. The thing that's really helping them right now is their bullpen's not really that bad. I do believe they have some bright spots in there, and really the biggest thing is this young lineup that they have, who I believe is a danger, with Gorman, with Wynn, with Walker, and then you have Goldie and Arenado, who, at their aging status, they're still killing it. So Brewers first in the NL Central. Mainly mainly had a rough offseason. Craig Counsell, the manager, went to the Cubs, as you see on the screen. But also Corbin Burns going to the Orioles. It's just a huge loss for their, losing ace. But when you plug in Peralta, he was amazing last year. And the rotation, I still think is solid. Still think is solid. Just it's going to be a huge miss for Corbin Burns. They got bullpen depth. They got a lot of bullpen depth there, so that's nice. One guy could be off, another guy can step in, and they have a great lineup still. Yelich, Contreras, Frelick, Terang, you name it. This is a team that can and will score many runs. And this is a team that I think the rotation will be good enough and they will win the division. How far we'll get in the playoffs is really depending on how this rotation does and this pitching. It's hurt them in the past, but I do believe that this team can do a lot, and I'm excited to see what they do this year. Just they are the most developed team in the division. That's why they are first. The last division in baseball in the NL West, and we're going to start with fifth, and that is the Colorado Rockies. They have a terrible pitching from everything, from the rotation to the bullpen to the closer. They really don't have anything established. It's just full on. They're going to stink and rebuild, and see what they do as an organization. This isn't a team that has, made it out and won a lot of postseason games, and they really have only gone to the World Series one time. So this isn't an organization that is great at rebuilding, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and see that they could try to get back to where they once were. This is a team that's had Larry Walker and has had, Arenado and Trevor Story, Todd Helton. So, I mean, they've had great players on this team. But pitching wise, yeah, this is something that they need to break the chain of and get something there. But overall, Doyle, Nolan Jones, Tovar are all the future of this team. They got to build around them and see what happens. They're going to have a rough season this year. When we look at the NL West, their fourth is going to be the San Francisco Giants. Now, this is a team that is very unsettling in terms of their lineup. Um, it's an aging lineup. There's some players that look pretty decent that could be there for a while, but this is an unsettling lineup. But the World Series champion Giants of the 2010s, I mean, they had some unsettling lineups and they got it done. They were able to, win three World Series titles in a span of, what, 6 years, something like that? 5 or 6 years. 2010, 2012, 2014. So, that they could prove me wrong on that. I mean, they aren't absolutely awful when you look at some numbers, but it's just an unsettling lineup that has holes in it. Their bullpen is not great, and they have a pretty good rotation, especially when they have Logan Webb and they signed Blake Snell. I really do believe they could be pretty decent, man. But overall, as a team, this is going to be fourth in the NL West. Third in the NL West, I got the San Diego Padres. This is a team that, when they signed Manny Machado, that was a favorite to win it all, man. And in the span of him being there, they've had some close encounters to a World Series. They lost it to the Phillies in 2022. They've been in the playoffs multiple times. But I mean, this is a very disappointing club just because, their success was definitely supposed to be more impactful than it has been. And injuries and, all these star players that have gone, it sucks, man. But overall, they have an intriguing rotation. You Darvish, Musgrove. I do believe that the Snell, not having Snell could possibly be pretty detrimental for them. They have an intriguing bullpen. Hader not being there is also kind of a loss for them. But they have a thing with this aging lineup, though, and that's a concern for me. Overall, Tatis, will he be an MVP caliber type guy? Will he be healthy? Will Machado fall off? A lot of questions. I do believe they'll be a great team, though, just not first. Second in the NL East, or NL West, excuse me. It's the Diamondbacks. It's the NL champs. It's the team that went up against the Rangers, and the Rangers are ready to win, man. The Diamondbacks are ready to win as well. They got some great young players in the farm system. I think they're just going to get better with the time and the years. I do believe the Diamondbacks are here to stay for a while. Just looking at it, they have a sneaky rotation. I really do enjoy Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly a lot. I think Fott will be a lot better this year. They have a okay bullpen. I think their bullpen could use some work, but at the same time, that's what got them to the World Series with their pitching, and it did really well, man. It did really well, and I do like Seawald. I hope he comes back to full health. And then you're looking at an exciting lineup, a lineup that got them to World Series, and they really have stayed together. I really do believe they will be phenomenal again this year. Moreno's gonna pick up his game even more. Marte is amazing. Perdomo, great glove. Christian Walker is a stud. Eugenio Suarez, I think that's a fantastic pickup for him. Corbin Carroll, fantastic. Lourdes Gurriel, like this is a team that is going to be deadly, man, and I think they're going to be in World Series contention again. I think this motivates them to go to try to go back to back and also compete with their counterpart, the great Dodgers, right now. Lastly, we got the Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're first in the NL West. I don't think there's a question about it. They're they suffered an NLDS loss to the Diamondbacks. I think it hurt them a lot, and they just decided to go rage mode and get Yamamoto from Japan for a massive contract. Getting Tyler Glasnow from the Rays, signing Shohei Otani to kind of a weird looking contract, but he really does make a lot of money in the long run. 700 million is insane. Um, Eventually will be that, but I mean, having the three-headed monster, man, Betts, Freeman, Otani, but then you have guys like Muncy, you got guys like Gavin Lux, you got guys like James Outman, you got guys like, um, you know, like it's almost like impossible to really go through this and just be in like total it's like you're in total awe, man. Adding Teoscar Hernandez example, it's just like what do you do, man? What do you do to really try to make this team slow down? They just got the money for it, so great rotation. They have pretty much everyone you need. They got a great rotation, great bullpen, great lineup. World Series or bust. This is the World Series favorite or bust, man. And that's all that I gotta say to it.